In the last class, we left our discussion in property number 6, that is cross product of two vectors in terms of their rectangular components. So here we are doing the cross product of two vectors with their rectangular components. So first you have to write the rectangular components of vectors which are given. So here we have two vectors, vector A and vector B. So A can be written as what? Ax I cap plus Ay j cap plus Az k cap. Like the same way we can write B vector also. So B can be written as Bx I cap, By j cap plus Bz k cap. So what these terms represents? So these are the components of B along x-axis, along y-axis and along z-axis. So what are this I cap, j cap, k cap? So these are the unit vectors along x-axis, along y-axis and along z-axis. So B is the component of B. So this is how we write the rectangular components for the given vectors. Now we have to take the cross product of the two vectors which are given. So A cross B can be written as Ax I cap plus Ay j cap plus Az k cap cross Bx I cap, By j cap, Bz k cap. So here you have to read this as cross. So this is not multiplication symbol. So this is read as cross. So in last section we did the dot product of two vectors. So wherein we used to write them as A dot B. So in this case we are writing them as A cross B. So this is read as cross. So this is not multiplication. So A cross B is equals to Ax I cap plus Ay j cap plus Az k cap cross Bx I cap plus By j cap plus Bz k cap. So now to solve this we are using the det. So this is the easiest method. So there is one more method which is given in your textbook, but this is the easiest method to find A cross B. So to do this or to solve this equation, we write this in terms of ijk and the components of them along x-axis, along y-axis and along z-axis. So first you have to write for I, then minus j, then for k. So you are starting with plus I minus j plus k. So if you start with minus I, then this will be plus j and this will be minus k. So here we are taking plus I minus j plus k. So if you see here, it is plus I minus j plus k. So to write the I, what we'll take, we'll ignore these two. So this column and this row. So what will be left? Ay, bz, az, by. So that is ay, bz, az, by. So next is minus j. So minus j. So you have to ignore this row, this column. So this is column, this is row. So you have to ignore this column and this row to write j. So for I also you have to ignore this column and this row. So now let us write for j. As I said, j takes negative value. So minus j. So you have to ignore this column and this row. So what will be left? Ax, Az, Bx, Bz. So Ax, Az, Bx, Bz. Next is for k cap. So k cap, as I said earlier, you have to write plus for k, and if you take k, then you have to ignore this column and this row. So ignore this column and this row to write k. So if you ignore this 2, what will be left? Ax, Ay, Bx, Bz. So that is what I have written here, Ax, Ay, Bx, By. Now you have to do the cross multiplication. So now I cap will be what? Ay Bz minus Az By. So whenever you do the cross multiplication, then second term will take negative. So Ax, Ay, so this is Ay Bz minus Az By. Clear? Then for J, how will you write? So that is again the similar pattern, Ax Bz minus second term always takes negative, Az Bx. Next for K, you take Ax By and Ay Bx, that is minus Ay Bx. So this is how we find A cross B. So this is the method to find A cross B. So this method appears to be a bit difficult, so don't worry, it is very simple. So just you have to take the TET. So you know how to write the components, then directly after writing the components you can use this method to find A cross B. So here I, J, K you have to take separately, then with respect to which I or which J you have taken, you have to ignore that column and that row. So that is important. And then if you write this all clearly, then that's it. So you can write A cross B. So now magnitude of this vector A cross B can be written as magnitude of A cross B is given by, so you have done A cross B, but now you have to find what is the magnitude. So magnitude is denoted like this. So root over, so this term Ay Bz minus Az By whole square minus, so this is plus Ax. So if you multiply this negative sign to this term, what will happen? This will become plus and this term will become minus. So do multiplication and keep the positive value of Az Bx. So Az Bx minus Ax Bz whole square plus you have third term, so that is what? Ax By minus Ay Bx. So this is the magnitude of A cross B. So what you have done, you just have taken the root for this and you have squared the value, so that gives the magnitude. So this ends the 7 properties of cross product. So next we'll learn motion in a plane. So what is plane? So if you have 2D, 2 dimension, then that can be said as plane. So if you have 3D, then that is called as space. So in that motion in a plane, what will happen to the displacement, what will happen to the acceleration, what will happen to the velocity. So we'll learn all them with graphical method. So the next section is motion in a plane. So this is motion in a plane. So what could be the definition for this? Two-dimensional motion of an object or a particle is known as a motion in a plane. in this first section we have, that is position vector and displacement. So you got to know what is motion in a plane. So motion in a plane is just two-dimensional motion of an object or a particle is known as motion in a plane. So in this motion in a plane, we are defining what is position vector and what is displacement. So let's suppose you have a particle which is moving in a plane. So then you have to draw 2D x, y. So now let's suppose the position of a particle is P. So this is the position of particle. Now you have to draw the position vector to this point. So this vector is position vector and it is denoted by R. So this is with reference to the origin. So you are drawing position vector of a particle with respect to the origin of an xy reference frame or xy coordinate. So what is this? This is the position of the particle. So if you know the position of the particle, then you have to draw the position vector r to the position of particle. So now this r can be written as what? R is equals to xi plus yj. How? So if you draw the perpendicular line from here, so this from here to here will forms xi cap. I cap gives the direction and from here to here is yj cap. So now r can be written as what? xi cap plus yj cap. So this is the position vector of a particle P which is located at point P. So the position vector r of a particle P located in a plane with reference to the origin can be written as r is equals to xi cap plus yj cap. So if suppose this particle is in space, then what you will write? So r will be equals to xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap. So that is the difference. So if you take the motion of a particle in plane, then you will get only two terms. So if you take motion of a particle in space, then you get three terms. So this is the position vector r. So here is a condition to write the position vector. So let a particle be moving in a plane along the path. So as shown in the figure, I will draw the figure. Suppose the particle is at A with position vector r1 and the particle is at B with position r2. So let's suppose you have the motion of the particle in plane. So what you have to draw? You have to draw two axes, x and y. Now this particle is moving something like this, or the path of the particle is like this. So the direction of the particle is in this direction, so in a positive x-axis direction. Now let's suppose the particle is at point A at time t1 and the particle is at point B at time t2. Now you have to draw the position vector from origin to the point A and position vector from origin to the point B. So this position vector, let us call this as r1 and this as r2. So hope this diagram is clear to you all. So what we have done here is we have taken the motion of the particle in plane. So the motion of particle is in this direction, or the particle travels in this path. Now in this path we are selecting 2 points. So you can select any 2 points. Now for these 2 points we are drawing the position vector r1 and r2. Now delta r can be drawn as, so from this point to this point gives delta r. So this is the position vector b and this is the position vector of r. And delta r gives the displacement of the particle which is moving in a plane. So now let us draw the perpendicular line from point A and point B which crosses the x-axis at, so this, let's suppose x1 and this is x2, and here you have y1 and y2. So this from here to here gives delta y, and from here to here, that is delta x. So this range is delta x and this range is delta y. Hope this is clear to you all. So this is x-axis and this is y-axis. Now delta r will be what? r2 minus r1. So from the graph you can see what is r2. r2 can be written as what? x2 I cap and y2 j cap. So r2 is equals to x2 I cap plus y2 j cap, and r1 is what? x1 I cap plus y1 j cap. So substitute these two in this equation. So let us call this equation number 1 and this equation number 2. Substitute 2 in 1. Then what you will get? You will get delta r is equals to r2 is what? x2 I cap plus y2 j cap minus x1 I cap plus y1 j cap. So you have I cap here. So separate the I cap terms. Delta r will be what? x2 I cap minus x1 I cap plus y2 j cap minus y1 j cap. So you have two terms. So from the diagram, if you observe what is x2 minus x1, it is delta x. What is y2 minus y1, it is delta y. So substitute that here. Delta r is equals to delta x I cap plus delta y j cap, where delta x is equals to x2 minus x1 and delta y is equals to y2 minus y1. So delta y and delta x. So finally you found the displacement of the particle which is moving in a plane. So this gives the displacement. So delta r is what? Delta x plus delta y j cap. So delta x I cap plus delta y j cap. So this is the displacement of the particle. Next is magnitude of displacement. So you found delta r is equals to delta x I cap plus delta y j cap. Now magnitude of displacement will be what? It will be delta r vector, which is equals to x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. So this is the magnitude of the displacement. We found displacement. So the rate of change of displacement will give what? So rate of change of displacement will give velocity. So now let us find what is velocity of a particle moving in a plane. So the next concept is velocity of a particle which is moving in a plane. So now to derive the velocity of the particle moving in a plane, we have to consider these things. So let a particle is moving in a plane along a path which is shown in the figure. So I'll draw the figure now. Suppose the displacement of the particle during the time interval delta t is delta r. So this we saw in the last case as the particle goes from position A to position B. So let me draw the diagram. So the motion of the particle is in plane, so I have drawn two axes. Now this particle is moving in this direction. So let us take 2 points A and B. A with position vector r1 and B with position vector r2. Now delta r will be in this direction and this is delta r. Now the direction of velocity, average velocity will be in this direction. Direction of average velocity. Now what is average velocity? The average velocity of the particle is defined as the ratio of the displacement to the time interval. So I can write V average is equals to delta r by delta t. So why am I writing arrow mark on top of V? Because it is a vector quantity and displacement is again a vector quantity. Now when delta t tends to 0, this point appears to meet A. So that is known as instantaneous velocity of the particle at point A. So I have discussed what is instantaneous velocity of the particle. If you don't know, then please go back to the last videos which I have done on instantaneous velocity acceleration. Then you will understand what I am writing here. So now instantaneous velocity of a particle at point A can be written as V is equals to, so in instantaneous velocity we use limit delta t tends to 0. So we know V is delta r by delta t. So this r you know from the last equation. V is equals to limit delta t tends to 0. So if you substitute what is r, then you get delta x plus delta y j cap divided by delta t. Now apply limit to the separate x and y terms. So then you get limit delta t tends to 0 delta x by delta t I cap plus limit delta t tends to 0 delta y by delta t j cap. So what you have done, you have just separated the terms. So we know that limit delta x by delta t can be written as dx by dt. dx by dt I cap plus this can be written as dy by dt j cap. So you have v is equals to dx by dt. So this you can also write as dr by dt. So change in displacement by time. Now this equation can also be written as what? So I'll write this here. So this equation can be written as vx I cap plus vy j cap. So this equation I have written from this equation. So this is what? Change in displacement with respect to time. So this gives velocity along the x-axis, velocity along y-axis. So now these two are the components of velocity in x and y. So now if you want to write the magnitude of the velocity, v can be given as what? V is equals to root over vx square plus vy square. So this is the magnitude of velocity. Now the direction of the particle or the direction of instantaneous velocity is along the tangent to the path of the motion of the particle at the point A. So that should be tangent to the motion of the particle. So that gives the direction of the instantaneous velocity. So what we have done in this class, first we found the displacement of the particle which is moving in a plane. So this is for displacement. So to find displacement we need to know the position vector. I have explained what is position vector from the xy graph. So here the particle is moving in a plane. So from this with the help of position vector we have written what is delta r or what is displacement of a particle which is moving in a plane. So delta r can be written as delta x I cap, delta y j cap. The direction of the displacement is from point A to point B. So if you can see here, the arrow mark is from point A to point B. So this gave us the displacement or the displacement of the particle which is moving in a plane. So with the help of this we found what is velocity. So velocity of a particle moving in a plane. So to find this we have to draw the diagram again. So this is the origin. From origin you draw two position vectors on the path of the particles. So these are the any 2 points that are chosen on the path of the particle. So A and B are 2 points. So for this A and B you have to find what is the average velocity, and after average velocity we have to find what is instantaneous velocity. So to do this, so the motion of the particle is in this direction and the path is this. So the direction of velocity will be what? Tangent to the motion of the particle. Now we have written average velocity. So this is average velocity, that is delta r by delta t. So to find instantaneous velocity, what we have done? We have written limit delta t tends to 0, delta r by delta t. So I have missed writing t here. So write t tends to delta t tends to 0. So that is delta r by delta t, and b is equals to limit delta t tends to 0 del x I cap plus del y j cap divided by delta t. So from that we got the velocity of a particle which is moving in a plane, that is vx I cap plus vy j cap, and this is the magnitude of the velocity v.